Crowd. Dirty, blackmail, pink slips.
All right, you lost me up until that.
No, that's
one.
what he does.
Throwing the mail?
Yeah.
You lost me.
He does. Jerry dirty, pink slips, blackmail.
Okay, listen, I believe you.
He does.
I forget that one. There's some good one-liners in that movie.
Yeah, no. That's actually a great scene is when he's just in the mailroom.
Yeah.
For like no reason, just wants to like make other people's lives miserable.
Well, that is his goal in life, to make other people's lives miserable.
Right.
So, he's doing it.
But in a weird way makes all of us at home happy.
Very happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, very
This
happy.
is one of it might be my favorite Christmas movie.
Easily same.
Same, yeah.
Yeah. It's top 5, but it may be number 1.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what would beat it. And I love Rudolph because it's a classic, but Rudolph doesn't compare.
Mm-hmm.
Polar Express is
Really?
beautiful in different ways.
Okay.
Yeah.
A good one. Yeah, not up there.
Top 5.
So clearly we're not talking about the Polar Express.
Or Rudolph.
Yeah.
They should make a live-action Rudolph. I guess it wouldn't be live action, but it would be a CGI.
Yeah, like talking Rudolph.
He talks in the original.
No, I know, but that's okay because it's animated, not when it's a real reindeer, but you're just like CGIing him talking. That'd be terrible.
I'd like it.
All right, yeah.
She said I'm cute.
Okay, my Grinch impression was better than that.
I wasn't trying. I'm just quoting.
All right, whatever. We are talking about the Grinch. The people watching mine can kind of see, I don't want to put it too much, it's very neon-y, but it's a green light because we're getting in, the Christmas spirit, but also relative to talking about the Grinch today.
Yes, all very green over there. And I got my Christmas tree behind me, a little snowman pillow.
I want to see the pillow. Show the pillow on the camera.
There's the pillow.
Yeah.
He needs a name. If you have any suggestions, hit me up.
Yeah.
He needs a name.
Can't just be Frosty.
No, that's too basic.
Frosting the snowman.
If you have a name.
Wow.
Because Kyle doesn't.
All right. Well.
It's kind of my moment. I joke that it's melting because there's less stuffing in one corner, so he does like slouch, and we just say. Anyways, you'll only understand that if you're watching.
We got to turn this place a little cooler. Turn the AC on. Save him a little bit.
I know.
Yeah.
Put him in summer and he'll be a happy snowman.
Yeah, you can't just be Olaf either, huh? Too basic.
No, you're too basic. He's not Olaf. Anyway, stop talking about my decorations.
All right, fine. Fair enough. We'll talk about the movie that we actually are reviewing.
All
we have a
3
couple.
Grinches.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah.
So the first one was properly titled, which one?
How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
It is?
Are the first 2. 1966 and 2000 are How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Okay.
The third one, the 2018, is just The Grinch.
Really? Okay. Huh. Which is kind of fitting because I feel like out of all 3 of them, the one that took the most liberties to be different was the 2018 one.
And if you don't know, it's all from the book. Created by Dr. Seuss in 1957.
Yeah, I think most people do
we all
know
know that, but
yeah.
just in case, you
never
never know.
Right.
Springfield native.
Yep.
We love him.
So the 2018 one stars Benedict Cumberbatch voices the Grinch.
Yep.
And like I said, that one kind of the one that is our favorite. Mine and yours is the 2001 with Jim Carrey.
Easily.
Yeah.
Easily, with the hands down. There's no comparison.
It's fantastic. Fantastic. But the 2018 one, out of all 3, definitely is the most different.
Yes.
The first 2 I kind of think like closely mirror one another, or at least go off of, the 2001 goes off the 1966 one. Yeah. 2018 one kind of takes it and goes in its own direction with still having some callbacks to the original.
I think the main direction that it takes is with Cindy Lou Who.
Oh, yeah.
The Grinch is still the same. He's still trying to make the Who's miserable and steal Christmas. And that, you don't dive into the character of the Grinch as much in the 2018 one. I feel like they dive into Cindy Lou Who more in the 2018 one, and she's not this shy little "Where are you, Christmas" girl anymore who's distraught. She's like, I'm gonna snatch Santa, and I'm gonna ask him for like peace on earth or something like that.
Yeah.
So it actually, I would say the 2018 one focuses more on Cindy, little old Cindy, than the Grinch.
Yeah, but the Grinch actually does change though, because like in the 2018 one, he's going down to Whoville like nonchalantly. He's going down there. He's like grocery shopping down there. His no, people aren't scared of him. They're not even like, people don't even know who he is. They're like, hey, mister. There's one guy who's voiced by Keenan who plays like the friendly neighbor.
Yeah.
Who tries to befriend the Grinch. But the people in Whoville aren't like, oh my god, the Grinch, he came down, which is they are like that in the first two.
Do you remember though in the second one, the live action with Jim Carrey, he does go down to do normal everyday activities because it's when he's in like the brown
he's
coat
disguised.
and he has but he would disguise himself to go down and do the normal.
Yeah, but the 2018 one, he just walks around normally.
Yeah,
and people
no
aren't like, oh my god, the Grinch. We're like, they are like that. They know who the Grinch is in the 2001 with Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
They are afraid of the Grinch. They've heard the awful stories about the Grinch. In the 2018 one, he can walk around unnoticed.
Right.
And people be like, mister, can you do this for me? And then he's up to his mischief and kind of like, wreaks the havoc that is the point of the Grinch. But, they did, it's not like, they did take some liberties with Cindy Lou Who to make her different. But they also did it with the Grinch in general. And like, I saw something when I was looking it up. It was funny. I was looking up IMDb. And they were saying that in the 2018 one, they changed how he treats Max. Like in the first two, he's brutal to Max, and for the people at home that are like listening and watching, as a kid, hated watching the original 1966 Grinch because I hated how he treated Max, and I always felt so sad for Max. I felt bad. And in the 2018 one, Max is like happier, or gives the Grinch some sass, and the Grinch is like caught off guard by it.
He has a little more of a personality.
Yeah, right. He's not just like the scared and timid like dog.
Yeah.
That's abused. So the 2018 one, it took a lot more liberties and changed more so than like the 2001 did from the 1966 one.
Yeah. The 2000s one did stay pretty true to the original, but then of course there's the expansion of it because the original is barely 30 minutes long.
Yeah.
And then the one in 2000 and the one in 2018 are normal length hour-and-a-half movies. So obviously you're going to add some filler and creative liberties in that sense.
Well, when we were watching like the 1966 one, obviously like you said, a half hour long, so it's clear and concise, probably very true to the book, right?
Yeah, it almost as if they're just reading the book.
Yeah. Which I get and I understand that. Then for the 2001, that's when they're probably tasked with like the more difficult, idea of like how are we going to stretch this into an hour and a half. So then I was thinking like, I'm trying to think, how did they fill that in? Well, they kind of came up with the backstory, right? He was bullied at school and abused, and he was taken in by the foster parents. This is obviously like the Grinch played by Jim Carrey, and and
then like the little boy. There was an 8-year-old boy who voiced the young Grinch.
Right.
In him, yeah.
Yeah. And so they added a bunch of backstory, kind of like what led him to his hate for Christmas.
They also made the love interest between the Grinch and the neighbor.
Yeah. Well,
what is her name? Martha May.
Martha May. And
there's kind of the love interest between them too.
Yeah, which is like all added in. Cindy Lou Who's family, I mean, they kind of kept that in the 2018 one, but they're a main part of the Jim Carrey one from 2000. Because again, like you have to fill in an extra hour of movie, but they do it the right way.
Absolutely.
I think that's
expand on what's already there.
Yeah, but I think that sometimes movies, when they try to do a backstory for a character, I kind of get skeptical and worry about when movies do that, because I'm like, they're really just, not going off of any kind of source like a book. They're just taking their own ideas and throwing it at the wall and seeing if it sticks. And it's like some of those can be iffy.
Yeah.
But this one actually executes it pretty well. Like his backstory, you know what I mean? It's like you feel bad for him. So it's not just that he's just this terrible monster like in the 1966 one. He just starts off as a monster in that one.
He does. And that's how he kind of continues up until the end.
Right. Until the very end when he like has a change of heart. Literally, like in size-wise, yeah.
But what's interesting, though, is the original in 1966 has the highest ratings.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not the Jim Carrey one?
No. It has depressingly low ratings.
Oh my god, that is depressing. Come on.
Which I honestly don't remember, like, what the reaction initially was in 2000.
Yeah.
I was all of, like, 4 years old.
Yeah.
But I wonder if it had to grow on people. Or I wonder if it had a later in life kind of reprise.
Some movies have that where like you didn't, people didn't like it when it first came out, and then it took years to age a little bit, and now it's a classic. But as far as I've known from when I was a kid and watched it, I've always thought it was hysterical. Jim Carrey, oh my god, like
perfect.
I'm not even kidding. Like, it sounds ridiculous to say, but one of the best acting performances. Like,
yeah.
But it's, I mean, maybe he was nominated for a Golden Globe. I think that he was. But, like, you think about, Leonardo DiCaprio in whatever movie that he was in. He's always nominated. And Tom Hanks in Saving Private Ryan. It's like, Jim Carrey as the Grinch is actually unbelievable.
That costume and that makeup. I was reading that he spent 2 hours every day to get the makeup and the costume, and then it took an hour to take that off. That is 3 hours out of his day just dedicating to looking like the Grinch. And then you have to act all day in it.
Yeah. I did read that, and that sounds excruciating and whatever, but like he... Also, you can't picture that being played by anyone else.
No.
He just plays it so perfectly. I mean, he's the right comedy for it. Like, Jim Carrey is very much so a comedian who is like specializes in physical humor, but also his one-liners he pulls off perfectly too. Like, just nobody else could have played that role.
The only other person that I could think maybe would be Johnny Depp.
Because he always just like really goes into these strange characters and throws himself into it. Yes. But like he always does it in a dramatic role, other than like maybe Jack Sparrow in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Similar one-liners.
And you know what though? Johnny Depp in Pirates of the Caribbean was nominated for an Oscar for that. It's a weird role. Yeah. It's kind of like a comedy movie a little bit, but he does throw himself into this strange character.
Right.
Plays it perfectly. Nobody else could be envisioned as that character. Mm-hmm. Similar to how Jim Carrey was as the Grinch, know? Nobody else could have played those. It's
stepping into a role that's not normal either. Mm-hmm. Because no one's a Grinch in real life. No one's, I guess, maybe people... Are there pirates in real life? Yeah, there's pirates in real life. Yeah. Not like Pirates of the Caribbean.
Right.
Pirates are a thing. Regardless, I digress. It's not normal. You're stepping into something that's not normal. Whereas I love Leonardo DiCaprio with all of my heart. The Titanic is one of my top 5 favorite movies. And every single thing, him in Great Gatsby, him in Wolf on Wall Street, like everything that Leonardo DiCaprio does is stunning. But think of the characters he's stepping into. It's a normal person.
Right. No, you're 100% right. That's
different. Yeah. But the thing that he does well is the time frames. Because if he was doing things that were set in the 2000s, you have the world around you to kind of base your character off of. But what Leonardo DiCaprio does very well is he can really put himself into a timepiece that he doesn't necessarily have the people and the influence of that time.
No, and 100%. Don't get me wrong. That wasn't me saying that
I know.
He wasn't, that he doesn't deserve it or that he's not that good. But very different roles, like you're different. Saying.
Yeah.
And Jim Carrey being as physically funny to be able to pull that off, I don't think Leonardo DiCaprio can do. You know what I mean? Not. Like it takes a certain type of comedian.
Right, different strengths as an actor.
Right. And Jim Carrey is perfect.
DiCaprio is the Grinch. You just can't.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But even like comedic actors, I really, now that I've seen Jim Carrey in it, I don't think that I could ever see anybody else other than that.
If there was a Grinch, I just hit the mic. if there was a Grinch 2, you know who I would want to be it?
Ooh.
I mean, Jim Carrey. But if they were to just, like, completely recreate it again, Sebastian Maniscalco. He would think about it. He would be
he is
so funny.
He is already so miserable,
Yeah,
but again,
and
it would be a
funny.
very different Grinch. Like,
No one's gonna like it as much as Jim Carrey, but I think Sebastian Maniscalco could do a good job.
because he is already miserable and would kind of already be like, why are people doing this Christmas cheer? And
But
like,
I think the
stuff like
way that he presents himself on stage, and he does have a very comedic body language.
Yeah.
That could pull off the Grinch as well.
Okay.
I hope it doesn't happen. Listen, I don't want a Grinch 2. There's talks. It hasn't been confirmed.
There is talks. That's what I was about to say, is that there is talks of a
Not
Grinch
confirmed.
2 live action with Jim Carrey. And I think that I don't want it to happen either. You know, like, just, it's such a great movie as it is. Let it be. I was honestly upset when they made the 2018 with Benedict Cumberbatch. It's a little bit more, like, fair. It's a little bit more of a fair thing to remake it if you're going to make it animated. But
Yeah.
it's a little bit more excusable. But I wouldn't want Jim Carrey to come back as much as I love that movie. It, you know, talk about, if they come out with it, we're going to review it. And the first thing we're going to talk about is it necessary? And the answer is no.
But there isn't a book. And so in my mind, I'm like, you can't do that.
That's a very good
There isn't
point.
a second book.
That's a very good point. You're now just writing on your own accord, like...
And then I
what
don't know
you
where
would-
the lawsuits lay, but I don't know if they could take creative liberties with a Dr. Seuss character.
No,
Now,
I'm sure.
maybe.
Yeah, I'm sure that they could, but the problem is like...
I don't know who owns the Seuss estate anymore.
Yeah,
Used to be
no.
his wife, but she's not alive.
Okay, no, I'm sure that they could, like, that's happened before, where they've taken,
Yeah.
you know, books and they've made their own sequel in a movie or an adaptation of it that completely strays from the source. And I can't imagine that they have to go and get it cleared by everybody just to make it. But
I don't know. It kind of depends, though. Because
I'm just saying that there's, like, precedent before of,
Yeah.
like, something like this, like what the Grinch would be doing, making a sequel off of the Grinch, but not going off of a source material like the book, so therefore wouldn't have to run it by, like, a Dr. Seuss or his family.
I guess, would it just matter who owns the Grinch? Who owns the character?
I don't know.
That's technically a character in a book. I don't know how it works. The media law class I took is not sticking.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Like, would the character have to be in the public domain for that? For them to just take the character and now, anyways, we're getting sidetracked. But I'm curious if they could even... I feel like they would have to get that approved by whoever owns Dr. Seuss right now.
Maybe law, like the legality behind it aside, I don't want there to be a second
I don't
one.
want it.
You
I don't
know,
want it.
I don't want there to be one. I mean, Jim Carrey. If he, you know, I guess that if they were to make one, would I want Jim Carrey to be the one to come back for it? Yes.
100%.
Because on the off chance that it actually is hysterical and funny, then it would be worth it. But just, like, leave the great 2000 version alone and let that be one that people still do revisit. It's not like it's going to be forgotten.
Oh, yeah. I would watch that movie in August.
Okay, I would too, but I like that
know?
it's a staple around Christmas time. You get excited
yeah.
for Christmas time because you're like, I get to watch those movies again. The Grinch. You know, you were talking, the Christmas Vacation with Chevy Chase is a staple. You were talking about, like, what are some of your favorite Christmas movies, which I do want to hear yours. But, like, one of mine that I think is a classic that I've loved since I was a kid, and I think that's why I love it so much, but, like, is A Year Without a Santa Claus. Which, now that I think of it,
one.
that should be on the list. That there is a second one.
There is a second
We could
one.
do that one. But, like, A Year Without a Santa Claus, Christmas Vacation, The Grinch are probably my top 3 Christmas movies. What would you say, like, your top 3 are?
Kind of like what I said before, Rudolph,
Yeah.
The Grinch 100%, and The Polar Express.
Polar Express is that high, yeah?
Yeah, those are the 3 that I have to watch every year. And there isn't another one that's actually coming to mind that I'm like, I must watch. Those 3, without a doubt.
Okay.
Like, I couldn't even think what 4 or 5 may be.
Oh, I could think of a list, but
Sure, but it's like I have to sit down and think about it. But right off the top of my head,
you have to watch those.
Rudolph the Grinch and the Polar Express.
Yeah, all good ones. All good ones.
I love the Polar Express. The music.
I know.
So good.
It is a great movie.
And then I just have a soft spot for Rudolph.
I know you do. I mean, A Year Without a Santa Claus would be your 4 or 5, right? One of the two.
No, probably not.
Wow.
I'll watch it for you.
You just said you loved that one.
I love a lot of Christmas movies.
All right, fair enough. Elf would probably be.
Ooh, how did I forget about Elf? Oh my god. All right, that's
number 4.
Right. That may be number 1.
Number 1?
No, How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Thank you.
Elf, Rudolph, Polar Express.
All right, there we go.
Don't know what 5 is.
That's a little bit better. Yeah, I mean, so as far as like the 3 movies, I'm surprised. So what you said the 1966 one had the best reviews. What were they?
So it was an 8.3 on IMDb and a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
What?
Yeah, but then here's where it gets real bad. The 2000s version was a 6.3.
Oh my
IMDb,
god!
It gets worse. 49% Rotten Tomatoes score. I don't know who's reviewing these movies, but you're not good at it.
I know.
And then the 2018 was 6.4 out of 10 and 59% on Rotten Tomatoes. Something had to have happened with the 2000s one. Like, it clearly did not take off.
The 2018 one was rated higher on Rotten Tomatoes?
Yeah. Barely, but yeah.
That's a disgrace. I hate getting to, like, the critics' review because they always are ass backwards and just have it wrong. They are. They always, like, some of my favorite movies are the best, or, like, the movies I think are great, the critics will drag through the mud.
I feel like the critics look for classics, and How the Grinch Stole Christmas is a classic, but it's not your typical classic movie.
Huh?
that didn't stick? Come on,
no.
keep up with me.
So it's classically classic, and it's a classic, but not a classic.
It's a Christmas classic. But when I think a classic movie, I think Miracle on 34th Street. That's another one. There's my number 5. Miracle on 34th Street. Think of the movies that are nominated for Oscars. They have a certain way about them. You just saw one. You know, think of that movie. Like, if they're nominated for an Oscar, they're either not talked about, or they just have a certain way about
For the people
them.
that are wondering, I watched Napoleon with Joaquin Phoenix in theaters.
Did you like it?
It was okay.
All right, moving on. But this one is not. It's weird. It's weird as hell. It's the best movie, but it's weird. Like, you don't think of How the Grinch Stole Christmas as being
But some
normal,
of the ones that get
and that's
nominated.
why I don't think they like it.
But some of the ones that get nominated for things are the weirdest ones. Typically they are.
But it's always weird in some historical sense.
Right. It's like beautifully weird.
Yeah.
Is what they're going for like the
like,
Oscars.
This legitimately happened. Like,
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
I don't care. It's
Right.
weird.
Yeah, no.
It is. You said it's beautifully weird. And
That's
yeah.
what they look for when they're doing Oscar contenders is
Yeah.
like...
And I'm shocked that How the Grinch Stole Christmas was nominated. Truthfully.
Well, no, I think that Jim Carrey...
Oh, Jim Carrey
was nominated for a Golden Globe. You can fact check me on that one, but...
Snubbed.
Yeah.
The Oscars just, it's not their thing.
And
So if you're thinking of a legit movie critic, I think Oscars. You know?
yeah.
And it's just not there.
But that Rotten Tomato score is way too low.
Yeah.
Way too low. More people disliked it than liked it.
Yeah.
And that is atrocious.
I didn't have faith in humanity, but I certainly don't now.
I know, I don't either.
No.
Yeah,
Ruined
that's
it. Everyone else's opinion is irrelevant.
Yeah, it's depressing.
When I meet someone, my first question is going to be, what would you rate the How to Grinch Stole Christmas?
That's a good icebreaker.
Yeah, and then depending on their answer is if I want to talk to
them. Right.
So if you say below 60%,
well,
don't talk to me.
I honestly think that if I were to ask like most of the people that I know, do you like the Jim Carrey How a Grinch Stole Christmas? I feel like everybody's gonna say yes. Like I don't feel like I ever hear of anybody knocking
Surrounded
that.
yourself with good people then.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
We're the 49. We're the minority of the world. You know what I mean? Like,
True.
But yeah, I mean, unless there's anything else that you want to add, we can delve into whether it was necessary to keep remaking it.
No, just poor little Cindy Lou Who.
Yeah.
And more so poor little Taylor Momsen.
Yeah, kind of. fell off. She went and like did music, right?
Kind of. But she then was in Gossip Girl.
Oh, that's right. She was.
And then just, I don't know, the least I can say is I hope she's okay.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, was it necessary to keep remaking the different Grinch versions? Obviously, from in my opinion, from 1966 to 2000, yeah, I mean, okay, that's a good idea to take a half-hour short film that people, used to watch when, in 1966, and take that idea and elaborate on it and add another hour to make it a full-length feature, live action. Jim Carrey gets to be the star of it. That, I think, is necessary. You know what I mean? Like, that's a good idea. To remake it again in 2018 with Benedict Cumberbatch in the animated film of 2018, like, I don't know. After watching it, it wasn't like it held up at all. So I kind of feel like the answer is no, as far as, like, was it necessary? But at the same time, like, 18 years, okay, that's fine if you decide that you want to remake a film 18 years later. You know what I mean? And you want to do it differently, so you do it in an animated form again, and you change him a little bit. He's a little bit more social with Whoville, and take your own little twist. So I understand why they wanted to do it and the direction that they took with it, but would I miss it if they didn't make it? No. So 2000 with Jim Carrey, necessary. 2018 Benedict Cumberbatch, not so much.
So I have an interesting take on this one.
Okay.
I do think it was necessary. Even the 2018 one, I didn't hate it, but I certainly don't love it the way that I love the 2000s one with Jim Carrey. I'm not going to watch the 2018 one again, but I went into it with the mindset that I was going to hate it because I just don't like the way that they remade the music. I don't like that soundtrack, even though there's one song you want me to listen to. But
Tyler, the creator, made an EP for that movie, and Tyler, the creator, he makes good music, so you can separate that from the movie,
I can't.
Oh, okay, never mind.
It's in
you
the
should
movie.
Be able to.
No, because it's in the movie.
He has the whole EP, separate.
I just don't like it.
Okay.
So I don't like the music. But I'm not going to watch the 2018 one again, but I was going in with the mindset that I was going to hate it, and I was pleasantly surprised. I'm going to say that it is necessary.
Okay.
The reason why I say that is because they're not copying one another.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yes, the 2000s one is copying the 1966 one. But the difference here, not the problem, the difference here is it's all coming from the book. The original idea was the book. Now you're having different people create their movie from the book.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like the 2018 didn't copy the 2000s one. The 2000s one didn't necessarily copy the 1966 one. The base of it all is the book.
Yeah. So
you can recreate any book. And, with Christmas Vacation, like we talked about in the last podcast, that was an original, unless it's a book that I'm missing. I don't think so, no. So that was an original thought in a movie. And they went the easy route and said, you know what? Let's make a remake of it. A second one. Same exact plot, same exact idea.
So it wasn't the Christmas Vacation one. It was just regular Wally World Vacation. But I get what you're saying.
Yes. What did we watch last time? Not Christmas Vacation.
Christmas Story.
Christmas Story. Thank you. I'm confusing them now. The Story. And then the second Christmas Story. Christmas Story. What was that one called?
A Christmas Story Christmas.
Christmas Story. I knew it was something stupidly repetitive. Regardless, to my point. They took a original idea that they had with the Christmas Story. And they just copy and pasted it with older actors.
Mm-hmm.
And with The Grinch, you're really not copying and pasting anything but the book.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I think you could take any book and make, especially when it comes to Dr. Seuss. You have The Lorax. That was a movie from a Dr. Seuss books. I'm sure that there's different animations of that one as well. I feel like when your base is a book, that allows more people to take it with creative liberties. But when you're just taking a movie that wasn't a book, that was just simply a thought for a movie, And now a few years later, you're thinking, let's bring that kid back now that he's 45 years old, and now we can make the same exact movie again, but with the son in the first movie, now he's the dad. Like, that's not an original thought.
Welcome to the reason why we have a podcast at all.
But the reason why I'm saying that this one is necessary is because they aren't copying a movie.
No,
they're not just making it as in, oh, this character's older now, so now he's the father, now she's the mother. Like, they're just creating a book.
No, I completely agree with you, and I think that that's spot on. I agree with everything that you said.
That was a really roundabout way to get there.
No, but it almost made me decide, like, yeah, she's right. It is necessary, but, you know, what you were just mocking about A Christmas Story Christmas versus A Christmas Story is exactly why we felt like we needed to make a podcast in the first place.
Right.
Is because a lot of things are just taking the lazy route and just copying the exact same thing that they did 20 years ago or more and trying to trick us into thinking like, here is something that's new.
Yeah.
But really it's the exact same thing, just re-releasing it and calling it something different, and the actors are older.
Whereas with The Grinch, they never claimed to be making something new.
Right.
They're just coming
Here's
out
the same
with
story.
The Grinch.
Yeah, the same story.
They barely changed it, to be honest.
Yeah. The narration, we were saying. The narration, I mean, obviously they're probably just reading straight from the book. Yeah. But I like that they keep it the same.
And from all three, they're basically reading a book throughout the story. There's always a narrator.
But then taking their kind of like, their spin on it.
Yeah.
To make it a little different.
That's all.
No, I think you're right.
And I think you could do that with any Christmas book. You could do that with any Dr. Seuss book.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just you're taking your creative liberties on something that has already been created. You're not trying to create something new.
Yeah. No, it's a very good
point.
point.
I'm going to say it was necessary.
All right, I like that. I think you're right. So get into the redo or the reDON'T. For myself, obviously the 2001 is about the highest redo I could possibly ever give.
Agreed. 100%, yeah.
Unbelievable movie. 2018, I'm with you. I didn't really love it, didn't really dislike it, kind of was just iffy about it, but I could go without it.
Yep.
So I would give it the reDON'T.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, not like to the people that are watching or listening, it's not like, hey, definitely don't go watch it. It's a waste of your time.
I would suggest it to people.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's certainly not a bad film, but it just wasn't anything that made me like... I don't think I really laughed during it. I think you said you might have laughed a couple times.
But there were a few chuckles here and there.
I didn't laugh, even the...
Yes, you did. There were a few Max moments that we laughed at.
No, I don't know. I mean, I barely laughed during it, and it wasn't
Come on.
I barely laughed during it. That's what I'm saying. That's the truth, is that I barely laughed during it. It wasn't, it didn't stick with me. Like you said, you'll probably never watch it again. I probably won't ever watch it again. But if you haven't seen it and you have nothing going on and you want to add another Christmas movie to the list, you could watch that one. It's not bad. I mean, it's just also not good.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, nothing will ever compare to the one with Jim Carrey.
Never.
That's all there is to it.
Jim Carrey is king as the Grinch.
They could have stopped there. They could have picked a new Christmas book, but that's fine.
Right. All right, so that's the Grinch for you. Last thing, and then we'll wrap it up. But anything that you're watching, once again, we're doing it at the back end. We need to start off with that again.
I know. Because you start, because you did just see a movie.
Okay, that's actually what I was going to talk about. Although Napoleon, like I said, watched it with Joaquin Phoenix. It's going to be an Oscar contender. Kind of underwhelmed by it. Again, the kind of like weird to compare Napoleon with Joaquin Phoenix to the Grinch in 2018 with Benedict Cumberbatch. A little weird, but I left both with the same thing of like, probably never watch it again. Wasn't blown away by it. Wasn't like the worst thing I've seen, but a little underwhelmed. Something that I do want to talk about that I'm watching right now, because I'm really excited for it, is the 5th season of Fargo, which is a TV show airing on FX. Actually a remake, too, from the movie by the Coen brothers. But the 5th season of the television series just came out recently, and I am excited for that. I love that show. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. So there's always a long hiatus in between seasons, so I'm glad that it's finally back, and I'll be watching that. I've already started the first episode. So
there you go.
Yeah.
The only reason why I had you go first is because I'm boring. I haven't been watching anything. The Bachelor's over. That's upsetting. The new season's coming out in February.
Mm-hmm.
I finished Selling Sunset. I haven't picked up anything new yet. I want to, and everyone tells me, and you're gonna say, I suggested it to you. I want to start The Crown.
You do need to. So that's actually one that's just came out.
Yep. That's
just
why.
came back.
And now they're diving into Princess Diana, and now they've caught my attention.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to like it. And they had a corgi at the premiere, which, stop it. I love that. The Queen's dogs. Not her legit dog, maybe. But
So season 6 of that show just came back. Yeah, that's another thing that's going on in the world right now. Even if you're not watching it, anything that's going on in the world pertains to this segment.
So I want to watch that one. I need time to watch that one.
You should watch it though.
You know me with TV shows and movies, and so much of my brain capacity that is there for TV shows is taken up by this podcast and what we're doing right now. So, with that, I haven't really been watching anything, but I may watch The Crown soon. That may be added to the list.
You should. It's a very good show. If anybody is listening or watching and hasn't seen The Crown, I highly recommend. I'm about to finish it. I mean, you're about to start it, and I'm about to finish it.
Yeah, there's like 6 seasons, so I got a long way to go.
Yeah, but it's a good one to kind of like commit to.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like there's one that I'm missing, but it couldn't have been that important, so.
Yeah, if so, save it for the next time.
I'll start watching things next time.
Yeah, please do. No, next time, I think we know what we're going to review next. It'll be an interesting one. I mean, keeping up with the Christmas theme, which is the best theme to be, talking about. So
yes,
more reason for you to come back.
Exactly. Christmas theme is like the only one that I'm like, yes, I'm committed. I will watch these. The chances are I've seen them all anyway. So.
Right. Yeah. No. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.